Hi there, welcome back to Good Morning Transfers. And we are straight into it today because football, as we always say here, is a small world. Word gets around. Agents talk, players talk, directors talk, sometimes all at once, and sometimes at entirely the wrong moment. So here is the question sitting at the center of everything this morning. How does a club legally activate a release clause without the entire deal unraveling before the ink is even dry? Because that is precisely the situation developing right now, and it is far more complicated than most people realize. There is no single clean answer to this. I was speaking to a representative earlier this morning, someone who handles this level of contractual detail on a week-to-week basis. And the very first thing they said to me was that it depends entirely on the specific language used when that clause was originally written into the contract. That is always the starting point, and here is why that matters so much. Every single release clause is worded differently. Some are completely open, some carry layers of conditions attached to them, and some are wrapped in confidentiality agreements so tight that even acknowledging the existence of the clause to an outside party could technically constitute a breach. So what happens when a clause is publicly known? If a release clause is openly established, and there are several well-known examples of that right across the Premier League right now, then a buying club can approach the players' representatives directly, confirm the clause exists, verify the figure, and begin discussions with the player almost immediately once that fee has been formally committed to. That is the clean version of how this is supposed to function. But here is where it gets genuinely complicated. What happens when the clause is confidential? What happens when the agent is contractually prevented from disclosing that number to any external party at all? That changes the entire dynamic. In that situation, club-to-club contact is not just advisable, it is legally essential. A buying club would have to approach the selling club formally, state their interest, and in doing so, inevitably reveal how much they already know about a figure that was never supposed to leave the room. And that raises an immediately uncomfortable question about where that information actually came from. Some release clauses exist under full non-disclosure agreements. The figure is written into the contract. It is real, it is binding, but nobody outside the club and the player's innermost circle is legally permitted to know it or share it. We have seen public release clauses before, numbers that are known, talked about openly, almost functioning as an advertised price tag on a player, but the confidential version operates in an entirely different legal space. And when information about one of those clauses appears to have reached a buying club through unofficial channels rather than through proper formal contact, things get complicated very fast. The move itself may still happen. In football, deals rarely collapse entirely just because process was mishandled somewhere along the line. But there will be a delay. There will be conversations happening behind closed doors about exactly how this information moved from one party to another, and there will be serious questions asked about whether that happened deliberately or simply carelessly, because in this industry, information is currency, and how you spend it says everything about how you operate.